Hello everyone. Welcome back to the session on phonetics. In the previous sessions, we talked about the International Phonetic Alphabet. We looked at the speech sounds of English, that is in RP, the 24 consonants and the 20 vowel sounds. We also discussed language, linguistics, and communication. Today, let us talk about the components of linguistics. Linguistics is a study of language. In linguistics, we study how language operates. Linguistics includes 5 major components. They are phonetics, phonology, morphology, syntax, and semantics. Let's discuss these components one by one. First, phonetics. Phonetics is a component of linguistics that deals with speech sounds. Let me give you an example. Consider the word book. The word book consists of 4 letters. The letter B, O, and K. But when we say this word, we can see that it is made up of only 3 sounds. The initial sound B, the second sound U, and the third sound K. So this is an example for a case where there is no correspondence between the spoken word and the letters used to represent that word. The number of sounds in the spoken form of the word don't tally with the number of letters in the written form. In phonetics, we are concerned only with speech sounds. We should not make the mistake of saying that that a particular word has these many number of sounds just by looking at the number of letters in that word. There are numerous words in English where this problem exists. That is, there is no correspondence between the number of letters in the word, in the written form of the word, and the number of sounds in the spoken form of the word. At the same time, there are plenty of words in English where the number of letters in the written form of the word and the number of sounds are the same. For example, if you take a word like bat, we can see that there are 3 letters in this word, B, A, and T. The number of sounds is also 3, B, A, and T. So this is an example for a word where there is a correspondence between the written and the spoken form of the word, that is between spelling and pronunciation. But in phonetics, we deal only with sounds. We deal only with speech sounds. So we shouldn't make the mistake of saying that a word has these many sounds simply by looking at its written form. Phonetics deals with speech sounds, we said. Now, why is speech so important? The question of whether speech is primary or whether it is writing that is primary is still much debated. Those who advocate the theory that speech is primary or speech is more important than writing do so for a variety of reasons. One is that if we consider the history of any speech community, it is speech that came much before writing. The same applies to the individual. If you consider the history of any individual, a person, we can see that a human being starts to speak much before he starts writing. Another thing which made people think that speech is more important than writing is that wherever possible, we prefer to speak. If we can make do with speech, we wouldn't opt for writing. We use speech much more than we use writing. We can also say that modern technology has contributed immensely to the development and importance of speech. Most of the gadgets, the modern gadgets that we use or have used, like the tape recorder, the telephone, and so on, they give importance to speech. So all this put together makes us agree to the importance of speech over writing. So phonetics basically deals with how speech sounds are articulated or produced, the articulation or production of speech sounds, how speech sounds are transmitted from the speaker to the listener or to the hearer, and how speech sounds are received or perceived by the listener. Phonetics also includes the classification of speech sounds into two broad categories, vowels and consonants. We already saw how a single variety of English, RP, consists of 44 sounds, which we can divide into 24 consonant sounds and 20 vowel sounds. So phonetics deals with speech sounds. Coming to the second component of linguistics, that is phonology. Phonology is a component of linguistics which deals with the way in which sounds function in a language. What do we mean by this? We know that the IPA consists of symbols representing all the sounds used by all the languages spoken in the world. From this total inventory of sounds, every language selects the sounds that it requires. That is how the RP variety of English has selected a total of 44 sounds. But if you consider any two languages, you will realize that the number of sounds in those two languages need not be the same. The sounds selected by one language need not be selected by all other languages. Every language selects the sounds that it requires. So, phonology deals with the selection of sounds. To give you an example, the sound represented by the letter S in the word pleasure. If you consider the word pleasure, the sound represented by the letter S is J. Now this sound J does not occur in most Indian languages. There are plenty of other examples of sounds which are present in the RP variety of English, but which may not be there in several of the Indian languages. Phonology is also concerned with the organization of speech sounds. How do we put together, how do we organize, or how do we combine the sounds that we have selected in a particular language according to certain patterns? That is also the domain of phonology. For example, if you consider English and Hindi, we know that the two sounds S and K are present in both these languages. That is both the RP variety of English and Hindi have selected these two sounds. Sir, the initial sound in the word sit, and ka, the initial sound in the word cat. These sounds exist in English, they also exist in Hindi. But how are these words used in these two languages? How do these two sounds function in English and how do they function in Hindi? We can see that in English, the two sounds sa and ka can begin a word. There is no need for an intervening vowel sound between these two sounds. These two sounds can come at the beginning of a word without a vowel sound in between. For example, in words like skin, skit, school, in all these words, we have these two sounds coming in the initial position, but they come together, there is no intervening vowel. But in Hindi, which also has both these sounds, sa and ka, we wouldn't find such a combination at the beginning of a word. In Hindi, sa and ka do not occur at the beginning of a word without an intervening vowel. Wherever these words, these sounds occur in a word in Hindi, we will always find a vowel sound present in between. So, that is why we can say that every language selects certain sounds and organizes them or combines them according to certain patterns. The pattern of combination in one language may not be seen in another language. To take another example, if we consider the words spring, script, and spleen, we can see that these three words begin with three consonant sounds. The word spring has three consonant sounds in the initial position, sa, pa, and ra. Script also has three consonant sounds, sa, ka, and ra. And in spleen also we have three consonant sounds at the beginning, sa, pa, and la. So this tells us that English language permits or allows three consonants to begin a word. In English, a word can begin with three consonant sounds coming together. But this is not seen in many Indian languages, including Hindi. To give you still another example, if we consider again the two languages Hindi and English, we can see that in both these languages we have words beginning and ending with consonant sounds. For example, in the word bat, it is the sound b, a consonant sound which begins the word, and the word ends in a consonant sound t. So in English, consonants can both begin a word and end a word. The same is true in the case of Hindi. For example, if you consider a Hindi word sub, here you have the initial sound sa and the final sound b. If you take the case of a word like aap in Hindi, there also we have the final sound which is a consonant p. So Hindi words can also begin and end with consonant sounds just like English words. But if you consider the case of Kannada, another Indian language, you will never find any word ending in a consonant sound because the phonology of Kannada doesn't allow a word in that language to end with a consonant. All words in Kannada language end in vowels. So all this comes in the domain of phonology. How speech sounds are selected and how they are put together or organized according to certain patterns comes in the study of phonology. Phonology is also concerned with the study of sound units called phonemes. What is a phoneme? A phoneme can be described as a minimal distinctive unit of speech, or it is the smallest unit of speech, sound. If we take any language, we will see that the language will be made up of several phonemes. So English, that is the RP variety of English, consists of 44 phonemes. Let's take a look at two words, sit and sat. If you observe these two words, you will see that these two words, sit and sat, differ in just one sound. The vowel sound in these words is different. Both these words begin and end in the same sounds. They differ only in the vowel sound. In sit, we have the vowel E. In sat, we have the vowel A. So, we can say that these two sounds, E and A, are two different phonemes. Now, the study of phonemes, or the minimal distinctive unit of speech sounds, also comes in this component called phonology. Moving on to the third component of phonetics, that is morphology. Morphology. Morphology deals with words. Morphology deals with words and the different units into which words can be split. Now, if we consider the word like, if we take the word like, we know that we cannot split it into units. The word like can be used as a noun and also as a verb in English. This word like consists of only one unit, one morpheme. But if we consider the word likely, we can split this word likely into two units, like and ly. Or we can say that the word likely consists of two morphemes. A morpheme is a minimal unit of meaning. It is the unit of meaning, it is a unit of language which carries meaning. So the word likely can be said to be composed of two units, two meaningful units, like and the suffix ly. Like, as I said earlier, can be used as an independent word, as a noun or as a verb. What about the unit ly? Now, ly also has meaning. It has grammatical meaning, because when we add the suffix ly to a verb or to a noun, we form an adjective. So ly also carries meaning. It carries grammatical meaning. So morphology is concerned with the study of words, or it is concerned with the study of the structure of words. Words and the different units which a word can be made up of. A morpheme or a word can be made up of two or more morphemes, one or more than one morpheme, that is. If you take a word like re-examination, if we take the word re-examination, we can split it into three morphemes. The first morpheme, re, R-E, which has the meaning to do again, to repeat. The second morpheme, examine, which is a verb, and the last morpheme, ation, which is a suffix which when added to a word makes it a noun. So morphology is concerned with words and the way in which words can be divided into smaller units. Coming to the fourth component of linguistics, that is syntax. Syntax studies sentence structure. Every language organizes words according to different patterns. Now, normally a statement in English follows the SVO pattern. That is, we begin the statement with a subject, which is followed by the verb, and only after the verb we have the object. For example, the dog chased the cat. Here, the dog is the subject, chased is the verb, and the cat is the object. But if you consider Malayalam, if you take a look at the sentence structure of a statement in Malayalam, it follows a different order. You can see that the subject is followed by the object, and then we have the verb. For example, if the same sentence were translated into Malayalam, we would say, Naya Poochaye Odichu. So here we have the verb in the final position, unlike the structure of a statement in English. So every language organizes its words according to different patterns. So the syntax of one language may be different from that of another. So syntax is that component of phonology, of phonetics, which deals with how words are organized or structured to form sentences. Coming to the last component of linguistics, that is semantics. Semantics deals with the study of meaning. It is not enough if words are put together so that a sentence is grammatically correct. A sentence may be grammatically correct, but it may not convey proper meaning. The primary purpose of language is communication. So if language should communicate, the words in a sentence should be arranged not only in proper grammatical order, they should also be meaningful. If we consider a sentence like Raju ate an apple, we can say that this is a correct sentence. It is grammatically correct and it is also meaningful. At the same time, if we change the sentence, if we say Raju ate a book. What is the problem? The sentence is still grammatically correct, but it doesn't convey proper meaning. So, semantics is concerned with the study of meaning. English sentences or sentences in any language have to be meaningful. And that is why semantics is concerned with the study of meaning in language, meaning of words and meanings conveyed by larger units like sentences or discourses. So these are the different components of linguistics. So I hope you have got an idea about the components of linguistics. With that, we'll wind up this session. Thank you.